Welcome to today's tutorial where we dive deep into creating a 3D crafting system using Java. We're going to cover everything from setting up our environment to implementing the core features of our crafting system. So, buckle up and let's get started. Before we dive into coding, let's talk about what we are building. A crafting system allows players to combine different items to create new ones. In our case, we'll represent this system in a 3D environment where users can visually craft items. Our focus will be on design, structure, and functionality. First things first, we need to set up our Java development environment. If you haven't done this yet, make sure you have the latest version of the JDK installed. Now, let's set up a new Maven project. Open your terminal and run this command. This command will create a new directory named 3D Crafting with a standard Maven structure. Navigate into this directory with the following command. Next, we will need some dependencies for 3D rendering. Open your pom.xml file and add the following dependencies for JavaFX and another 3D rendering library. JavaFX provides us with a powerful toolkit for building rich desktop applications. Now that we have our dependencies set up, let's create a new Java class for our main application. Create a file named craftingapplication.java in the src/main/java/com/crafting/system/directory. With our main class set up, it's time to run our application. Use your terminal to navigate back to the root of your project and run the following command to start the JavaFX application. You should see a window pop up displaying a 3D cube. This is our initial 3D representation. From here, we will build our crafting system. Let's introduce our item classes. Create a new package named models, and then a new class item.java in that package. Our item class serves as a basic structure for the items. It has a name and a type, which will help us categorize them. Next, we need a way to store our items. Let's create a class named inventory. The inventory class allows us to dynamically store items that players collect. We can add items to the inventory and retrieve the list of items when needed. Now let's initialize our inventory in the crafting application class. Next up, we want to implement the crafting logic. Create a new class crafting recipe. This will define what items can be combined to make new items. This class represents a recipe where a user must combine certain quantities of various items to craft a new one. Next, let's create a crafting manager class that handles the crafting process. The crafting manager class is central to our system. It manages our available recipes and performs the actual crafting. Let's go ahead and create a few items and recipes. In this snippet, we create two materials, wood and stone, along with an axe that is crafted using 2 pieces of wood and 1 piece of stone. Next, we will need to implement the crafting action within our application. Now we can test our crafting logic. After adding all our items to the inventory, we invoke the craft method, and it checks if we can create the axe from the wood and stone. Make sure to run the application again to see the results in the console. To make this crafting system user-friendly, we should create a simple UI to display the inventory and allow users to select items for crafting. Let's use JavaFX to enhance our app's UI. In this code, we're using a simple vertical layout that includes a list view for our inventory items and a craft button. Make sure to populate the inventory view with the items present in the inventory class. When the user selects items and clicks the craft button, we need to handle that action. We can implement an event handler for the button. This action will react whenever the user clicks the button, allowing us to obtain the selected items and attempt to craft a new item based on these selections. However, we also need to ensure any user can only select items from the inventory list, so we need to implement that functionality. Now that we have our crafting UI, we also want to give feedback to the user regarding the crafting result. After crafting, let's display the result. This button will allow players to see the results of their crafting attempts in an interactive way. You could also explore adding alerts to show results instead of printing to the console. Quick note: if our crafting fails or the inventory is insufficient, we can provide user feedback using an alert pop-up. Let's summarize what we did today. We built the foundation for a 3D crafting system in Java, a system that allows players to gather items, combine them, and craft useful tools. As we close, I urge you to expand on this crafting system. Maybe introduce different materials, various crafting recipes, or even an advanced UI to make it more visually appealing. This project has plenty of room for enhancements. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you found this video helpful. See you in the next tutorial.